I have all the sports stuff like Todd, like so Ben Simmons is like the buzzword. So like, but it's always a mock draft. It's always some other shit. Shout out to JT and the Don. They sent me some mock trade that the Pistons sent over. I was like, don't send me any more mock trades, man. Send me the real shit. Because Ben Simmons, I'm telling you, man, he's very close for me going hunting. All right. It's fucking yellow, fucking Australian fuck. All right. Get away from us. Get away from us. I'm so sick of him. I am. I don't understand. He rather sit out and lose millions than go play basketball. $30 million. And
some people
that
are just different.
I don't understand it. I don't understand it. Like at the very least, fine. You hate Joel Embiid and you hate Doc Rivers and the fans boo you because you don't take jump shots. You told Kobe Bryant, hey, I'd rather hang out with the ugliest Kardashian than go work out with you and Jason Tatum. That's all you, man. That's cool. Show up to work. I don't fucking get it, man. It's like
I don't get how nobody in his camp isn't wringing his neck right now. Like, yo, what are you doing? Like, stop doing
That's
this.
That's a good point.
Doesn't he work out with LeBron James every offseason? Like, why is LeBron smart? I don't like the way he does business, but I mean, he's done well for himself, and I would assume LeBron should tell him, hey guy, if you want to be in Space Jam 3, you better show up to work.
Jesus Christ. That's a reason to quit basketball together if there is Space Jam 3. Yeah.
I would never take a jump shot if LeBron ever offered me a chance to go to Space Jam 3. I mean, he had Porky Pig spitting raps.
Yeah,
it's ugly.
Yeah.
It's ugly out there. Another reason why LeBron will never be better than Jordan. So, yeah. All right, guys, let's talk about sports. Sports. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Stuff About Sports. I am the Facebook felon germ. That is the prettier Corey Burke.
Prettiest Corey, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, you might be the prettiest Corey. Out of all the Corys in the world, you are the prettiest, but you're way more prettier than your twin brother, Corey. Sup, Corey? Piece of shit.
Piece of shit.
Piece of shit. This guy from the Divide, the B show, all the way down here. We're up here. And today we have a very special, illustrious guest. You might have saw us. We were on his show a couple days ago, but he has blessed us with his presence on Stuff About Sports. That is Marcus from Goat Talk with Marcus. What's up, man? How you feeling?
I'm feeling all right. Thanks for having me on the show. Cowboys couldn't do their job, so now as a Packers fan, I get to stress for the next couple of days into the game this weekend. So that's always fun. Pleasure to be here. Nice to. It's always nice talking sports. So
it is always nice. It's supposed to be the great unifier. Rice and sports can unite the world if people just get out their own way. Rice, weed, and sports. I think everybody likes all three or a combination of the three. 2 out of the 3 people everybody likes. There's not one person. I don't even smoke weed and I like it. So we might as well just let you get your shit off, man. We're gonna start with the I like to call it the mild card weekend because 4 out of the 6 games were blowouts and they weren't very exciting. And I love the expansion of the 17 soon to be 18 game season because I don't know why they did an odd number. It's got to be an even number so we can have even home. And hopefully they fix that. But I think the added playoff team was a bit of an overcorrection. It did add some drama to the regular season, which I guess was the intent, but it made for a god awful wild card weekend. So we're not even going to go in order. I'm gonna let you get your shit off. You're the guest. You guys had the bye, number 1 team in the NFC East. Let's give Aaron Rodgers and Matt LaFleur round of applause. Okay. But I mean, I'll say it for you, Dak Prescott. Fuck you.
I gotta be honest. Yeah, that's how I'm feeling. But I love Dak. I think Dak is great. For those of you, I mean, if any of you that are watching or ever bless me with some views on my shows, what you'll find is that I don't like the Dallas Cowboys. And this past weekend, which is another chestnut on the pile. That's probably the most boneheaded thing I've ever seen in my 18 years of living. At the end, not just of a playoff game, but of any football game ever. I mean, we all know that at the end of a game, you're supposed to get the ball to the ref. I don't really know what they were thinking. Why you're calling a QB sneak there makes no sense. But a lot of people focus about that. My big thing is Jimmy G throws a pick with 4 minutes left in the game. It didn't score there either. Like, you wouldn't be in that position with 14 seconds left, no timeouts, needing to take shots at the end zone if you scored on the initial drive that you had, the initial chance you had to take the lead, at least tie the game or put points on the board that time. So, yeah, Dak's an idiot, but Mike McCarthy's an idiot too. I have a lot of friends and family that are Cowboys fans. They thought Mike McCarthy was taking this team to to the Super Bowl. I don't know why they thought that. I kept telling them that he's not that guy anymore. And this is just, quite frankly, another example of that. He continued to show throughout the course of the season he can't manage the clock. There was just another incident of that. I love seeing the Cowboys lose. It just kind of sucks that, unfortunately, the Cowboys losing makes my weekend this weekend more stressful than it has to be. It's Cowboys and a Cowboy.
Yeah, but I mean, look,
Frank Novick just said Cowboys gonna Cowboy. So
I mean, that's pretty much what you said, not once but twice last week. That we know for a fact they can't get out of their own way. Look, and as a Packer fan, I mean, I'm a Giant fan, so I mean, both of their runs in my recent adulthood came from when they were wild cards. So my expectations started out pretty low, but when they had the hot streak, I never went to a game feeling confident ever. You were sweating it out till the very end, as Giant fans mostly do. But I mean, you have to look at that matchup against San Fran. You have to think we definitely have the edge on them. So I mean, as a Packer fan, you've got to be. It's got to be in your mind, like I think we take it. And personally speaking, and this may be the kiss of death if I'm picking the Packers here, but I honestly think, even on paper, you guys have them. You have to stop the run game. But I mean, look, Jimmy G did not look excellent this past weekend. Against notably an up and down Cowboys defense. So I mean, that's got to be something too. I think it's all about preparation, and I think you guys can out coach them and out QB them too. So
I think. I've been so pessimistic about the Packers all season long, and not because I don't have faith. My big issue with the defense specifically is Joe Barry. Joe Barry is a doofus. When you look at the 4 games we had this season against teams that were run first, the Browns, the 2 games against the Vikings, and our game in week 3 against the 49ers, for some reason Joe Barry is obsessed with running this too high safety look. That's not the answer against football teams that like to run the ball. And I would bet all the money I have to my name, which at this current moment is $1.31, that come this game Saturday night, Joe Barry is going to be running too high safety more often than not. He just doesn't learn from his mistakes. Now, I get it. Zadarius Smith is expected to come back. Jair Alexander, but obviously there's a ways away and they might not play, but there's a chance that they could play this weekend. And obviously that makes a big difference. You got the second best cover corner in the league and our best pass rusher back on the field. But if we can't stop the run, which is what the 49ers do so well, I don't see us having a shot. That's the first thing. Then you have to look at, Nick Bosa in that pass rush. Fred Warner's a little bit hobbled, but I'm sure he and Nick Bosa will be at full strength come Saturday night. So we've got the better head coach. We've got the better weapons offensively and defensively. We have the better quarterback, and all that's great. But I just don't have enough faith in Joe Barry to think that our game plan defensively is going to be able to adapt as the game evolves. He's consistently shown that he just is going to stick to it no matter what, no matter how many times it all just hits the fan. He just doesn't care. And it just that's really the big stressor. I mean, because if we think about it, right, with that 49ers team, there was they only scored 23 points. That was because 3 consecutive drives, they kicked 3 field goals. That game would have been much far out of the reach if they were able to reach the end zone 1 or 2 more times. So this is a team that can sneakily put points up on the board, and you've got this guy named Deebo Samuel who you can put in the slot, outside, in the backfield, on the line. You can line him up at tight end. He can do all these things for this football team. And Swiss Army knives have always kind of been our Achilles heel as far as game planning. Guys that can go at all different spots of the field and do anything. I mean, you write down a list of things that the Packers suck at. You're just making the 49ers team. We don't do well against the run. We don't do well against the pass rush. And we're getting David Bakhtiari back. This is going to be his first game all season. How much there's game rust and all that stuff that comes to a factor. You got a competent quarterback in Jimmy G, and of course, you'll wait for Jimmy G to be Jimmy G and ruin the game. But if they jump out to an early lead, he might not have to Jimmy G it, right? He'll just play kind of in his flow. I mean, he has a nice flow, so obviously I have us winning the game because I think that we'll still do it. It's just of all the matchups to have, I've been saying it all week, of all the matchups to have, this one was the worst. I would have much rather see the winner of the Rams-Cardinals game or the Eagles than I would have liked to see the 49ers. I mean, I said on the show last week, and you guys were there, Aaron Rodgers likes seeing the 49ers succeed. Apparently, it's just what he does. It's just what he does.
I mean, at least in the postseason, he's 0-3 against them.
Yeah.
But that could change this weekend too, right? I mean, look, regular season week 3, you guys inched it out against them too. But I mean, beginning of the season, obviously towards the end, the Packers were just, I mean, ultimately beastly offensively, and with that extra week of rest, who knows what Aaron Rodgers is going to come back with. Personally speaking, I like the Packers over the 49ers. But I mean, look, we'll see.
There are 3 QBs that earn over $40 million that are playing in this postseason, own $40 million annually. Okay, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Dak Prescott. You know what I'm saying? When you're in that class, you got to do better than what you did over the weekend. So I don't know what to say. I mean, Dallas. I said it on your show. I've been saying it on this show. The Cowboys are going to cowboy. This is Bert. This is exactly what happens. There's very simple rules I have when it comes to these NFL teams and building an NFL team, right?
Yeah.
3 years is what you have to show me who you are. That's one rule that I've had. I'm not going to judge you or crown you like, everybody crowned Lamar Jackson, just because he was the flash of the pan. He was the flavor of the month. So they gave him the MVP. And now look at him. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Tyler Huntley came in, and the Ravens were just as good as they were when Lamar was there. I don't care what anybody says; they look just as good. Yeah. Their team had some other issues, but that's that. Also, you never pay skill players. That's another thing I've said for years, and I've said it on the show since day one. You pay 4 positions in football. You pay the quarterback, you pay the blindside tackle, you pay the shutdown corner, and you pay the pass rusher. Anybody can catch the ball. We just watched Jerick McKinnon go out there and look like Barry Sanders for the Kansas City Chiefs against the Steelers. Anybody can run the ball, but you're paying Zeke $90 million to be a glorified left tackle. The Cowboys have problems. Now they're going to lose Kellen Moore, and they're probably going to lose Dan Quinn, who were the real coaches of that team.
Well, they paid Amari too a couple of years ago. So you got
Amari. I'm sorry,
him in there too. He had a decent outing. I mean, 6 catches for 64 and a touchdown.
Because there ain't nobody else. They ain't got nobody else to catch the ball. Michael Gallup's hurt, but that's what happens. Now you're hamstrung. You're reliant on those key players, and the Bills situation's opposite. Yeah, we're locked into our young key players, but we got them on good rookie contracts, and we're going to build the team around it, and then we'll reshuffle that when the time comes. But you're shelving out over 180 million to 2 players or 3 players. It's like, damn, you know what I mean? I get, I know Jerry Jones has fuck you money, but I mean, it's not obviously that's not helping you. So Jerry Jones has got a lot to figure out, because Mike McCarthy, we're going to put it on the poll, Bert. Does Mike McCarthy look like the worst mechanic when you go to the shop, and his solution is always it's the alternator? That's all he tells you. He's like, it's the alternator. With a shrug of his shoulders. Or okay, does he look like that, or does he look like the guy at the church who twirls his finger around the boxes of donuts before he makes his decision? Does he look like that? I think
it looks like a little bit of both. And
I think
honestly,
he's
this
both.
Is certainly on Jerry too. I mean, the fact that the individuals you interviewed and landed on Mike McCarthy obviously shows you that you had all the faith in the world in him, thinking that he was going to bring you a title with your team now. But now this is just ultimately proving you wrong. And as Marcus said, throughout the whole course of the season, having time management and clock management issues in itself, this playing out in this playoff game too, which meant a lot to this franchise. It was, I mean, look, we spoke about it the second he got hired. Laughable. But Jerry Jones is going to Jerry Jones. So I mean, look, we'll see what happens. I have to imagine he's certainly on a shorter leash now. I can't, but yet again, they stuck with Jason Garrett for so long too. So it's,
that's the Cowboys stick with coaches, and I mean, it's hard. Like, let's be real, Mike McCarthy's a puppet, and they're not going to get a guy to come in and challenge Jerry Jones in any significant way. So who else you got? Mike McCarthy's probably it, and they have the scapegoat because Dan Quinn and Kellen Moore are probably going to get jobs somewhere else, that they can just put it on the offensive coordinators. But for, you stupid idiot Cowboy fans blaming the referee. You played a QB draw with 14 seconds left. Everybody and their mom knows, and you have no timeouts, by the way. Everybody and their mom knows you have to give the ball to the ref. The ref has to touch it. You can't, because you can't determine where the ball's spotted. It's simple.
Right.
It's a simple rule. Everybody knows the rules. Second, you didn't have any time left. Blame Dak Prescott for trying to get 3 or 4 extra yards, taking 2-3 seconds off the clock that you actually needed. Because if you would have slid earlier, which wouldn't have made any significant difference in terms of field position, you would have had 4 or 5 seconds, even with the ref and all the confusion that had happened. But for Dak and Mike McCarthy to blame the refs is ridiculous. And I can't believe you spent all that time on the Cowboys. There's only one thing that sums up the Dallas Cowboys as a franchise, and that's this.
Yeah.
Okay, so a couple other games happened. I'm just going to get it out the way.
Yeah.
Bills, Patriots, number 2 defense in the league. The Bills had damn near a perfect game. Josh Allen, the guy that nobody believed in, Bert, only quarterback in NFL history to have 4,000 passing yards, 750 plus rushing yards. They said he couldn't throw the ball, Bert. They said he couldn't quarterback in the NFL, Bert.
Where are you pulling these quotes from? I think it's apparent that, he's had pretty good review throughout the entire season. The only individuals that haven't been on his side are the individuals that you called a giant piece of shit. No, excuse me, a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Last week on the Divide. Of course, he's always going to face criticism too. But all in all, I think there's a lot of people that are in the Josh Allen camp right now. Nah,
man. If I'm super hypersensitive to this stuff. The Josh Allen critics, it's what it is. Like, he'll have a really good game, and then he'll because he's been kind of inconsistent early, and then it's a mixture of that, and then people just, when he was drafted, people are like, oh my God, how could you draft Josh Allen and trade up to get him? And all of a sudden, you have guys that said he could never play because he had a bad rookie year, want to stand on that, and now they can't change their mind. It's like Josh Allen, there's always that big game. Oh, now it's the prove it game. It's always going to be a prove it game, not only with Josh Allen, but the Buffalo Bills as a team. It's always seems to be like, yeah, we already beat the brakes off the Chiefs this year, but it doesn't matter because people will say, oh, that was the different Chiefs team. Hold on. Uncle Germ did some research and we talked to the committee. And so this is for you guys. And I'm going to get this out the way because we have a whole bunch of stuff to get to. And I just wanted to get the Bills out the way. And the very simple reason, gentlemen, that the Bills are going to Ike Turner the Chiefs yet again.
Christ.
Okay? Is because what is everybody saying about the Chiefs after they had that horrible start? Oh, they went on the run and, they're awesome now.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at a little bit of that schedule, Bert. They started this run against your New York Football Giants.
Oh, hey, there you go.
Tommy Toughnuts, Joe Judge.
Toughnuts, yeah.
Out of here. No coach. Then they played the Packers. Pretty good win, 13-7 defensive slugfest. Oh, wait. Mr. Marcus, let me load up my soundboard here. Can you tell us who was quarterbacking that Week 7 game?
I believe that was Mr. Jordan Love.
So we didn't play Aaron Rodgers. So basically, they played the C squad, right? So nobody. Then they played the Vegas Raiders. We just witnessed it. Frauds.
They played the Dallas. In the Vegas Raiders' defense, they had a lot going on this year.
Hey, keep your players out of the strip clubs and Top Golf. Keep your coaches out of KKK meetings. And then who'd they play? The other frauds. The Dallas Cowboys. Great. Then they played the Denver Broncos. Come on. Then, they played the Chargers. Now, they're a little bit fraudulent. Not much fraudulent, but they cooled off. I'll give them that win. That was a pretty good win. It was an overtime, 34-28. But there's a little bit of fraudism to the Chargers, the fact that they didn't make the postseason after all that hype that the media was giving them. You want to talk about verbally jerking somebody off? We were all on the Chargers the first 9 weeks of the season. And now look at them sitting at home like the Cowboys. Then they played, they had to play the Raiders, the Vegas Raiders again, beat their ass, frauds. Then they played the Pittsburgh Steelers, didn't have no business in the playoffs, frauds. Then they played the Bengals. So now we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 wins. Then they ran into the one real team they had to play, the Cincinnati Bengals. Guys, take a wild guess who won that game.
Joe Burrow won that game. That was such a great game for Joe. Such a great game for Joe.
Super great game for Joe. Then they played Denver again. So let's recap real quick.
Mm-hmm.
They played the Raiders twice in this, 2, 4, 6, 8-game winning streak they went on after a horrible start. And 4 of those games, they played against division rivals twice. Trash, right? Then the only good teams they played were the Bengals and the Chargers, if you want to say the Chargers. So why am I supposed to get all hype on the Kansas City Chiefs? No, there's no reason. So it's because it's Patrick Mahomes and this earned arrogance they have because they're Super Bowl champions and everybody loves Patrick Mahomes. And Josh Allen and them only had to destroy they had to beat the 20 years worth of defeats out of the Patriots in this wild card weekend and have the number 1 scoring defense in the league and have a top 5 offense in the league. And we're still slight underdogs to the Kansas City Chiefs somehow. It's unbelievable. I don't believe it. Josh Allen got praised for his arm before the draft. I never even questioned his arms. Well, that was the thing. They said he had a cannon for an arm. That's why Buffalo drafted him, but he couldn't control it. He wasn't accurate, right? That was his number 1 thing. He's not accurate. He's one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the league now. He met his bad decision making, and he's a gunslinger. They all have bad decision making sometimes, but there's not one person. If you watch that Patriots game, there's nobody in the league that can do what Josh Allen can do, and that's why he should be the MVP. He was shrugging off 300-pound linemen like they were children. Patrick Mahomes can't do that. So he runs better than Patrick Mahomes, and he throws better than Aaron Rodgers. How is he not the MVP? All right, I'm done talking. Sorry, guys. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, you're the slight underdog in itself, but I mean, you're going to act like Patrick Mahomes didn't just put on a show the other night. So, I mean, threw for 404 with 5 touchdowns. Yeah, he wasn't perfect. He had 1 interception. But, I mean, you're also looking at another high-powered offense. I mean, I think it's going to be close. Ultimately, I think the Bills are going to edge out Kansas City, and I'm not just saying that because my co-host is a huge Bills fan, and I wholeheartedly think that. But, yeah, I mean, the Steelers, not the best team, but I would say that they're better than the Patriots in a playoff situation.
Chaos Kaz, who is a huge Pittsburgh Steelers fan, said those frauds in Pittsburgh had germ questioning the Bills' whole season in week 1. Just saying. You know what, Kaz? You're right.
I mean, I wasn't going to bring it up, but I'm glad Kaz did.
But the one truth in life, the one absolute truth is things change. Week 1 is week 1.
Yep.
And we're playing this weekend, and you're not.
Well,
yeah.
If there's anyone that subscribes to the week 1 is week 1 news like that, that'd be me. Given that the Packers got absolutely ran off the field against the Saints, that was just crazy.
Yeah.
No, I mean, listen. I don't know if the Bills will win by 30 again.
Probably.
But you gotta like the Bills. I think the one reason why they're slight underdogs is because the game's in Kansas City, and Kansas City hasn't lost at home unless your quarterback's name is Tom Brady. Well, Josh Allen will go in there and fix that. I've said all season I don't trust Kansas City's defense. I think Daniel Sorensen's the worst safety in football, and I just wholeheartedly believe that anybody on that defense not named Tyrann Mathieu, and Chris Jones just aren't worth mentioning because the rest of the defense really just sucks. If we're being completely honest, Buffalo just has the better defense, and that's what it's going to end up coming down to. It's going to coming down to that one key stop on that one random possession in the second quarter where Kansas City doesn't score, and then that'll end up being why the Kansas City ends up losing the game. It's going to be fun. I think of all the potential matchups that we could have gotten this weekend, this one's going to be the best. It's going to be the most entertaining. It's going to be the highest scoring game, I think, of all the playoffs when it's all said. I mean, I could easily see both teams putting up 40 points. It's because both offenses are just that high powered. The one issue I think I could see Kansas City running into is that Tyreek Hill has kind of been a non-factor a lot recently, like a lot. Like defenses just aren't letting Tyreek Hill kind of run around on that third level in the secondary, and then just letting Mahomes like, oh well, Tyreek's down there somewhere and flinging the ball 70 yards down the field, forcing him to have to rely a lot more on Travis Kelce. Which I mean, when you're the second best tight end, when you got the second best tight end in the NFL, that's not a bad thing. But you're not going to beat the Bills with just Travis Kelce. Even if he is throwing touchdown passes like he did against Pittsburgh, it's just you're gonna have to get Tyreek Hill in there, and I don't know if Tyreek Hill is gonna be able to have one of those big playoff games that he's had these past couple seasons against this Buffalo defense.
Were the Arizona Cardinals frauds this whole time?
Yes.
Apparently,
Yes.
right?
Yes, I've been telling everybody that the Arizona Cardinals were frauds. I actually predicted that the Cardinals would be last in the division, so I was wrong about that. And I also didn't think they'd win a playoff game unless they played the Cowboys. That'd be the way they win their playoff game. So I was right about that. Listen, Cliff Kingsbury has no experience. I don't know why we assume that coaches with no experience are gonna figure it out on the whim, especially against coaches that have experience. We're talking about a guy in Sean McVay who, while I don't think he's a boy genius, he's coached a team to the Super Bowl. You're not going into LA against this football team and getting the job done. Now, a lot has to do with Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray made some really, really, really questionable decisions, including just kind of throwing it up while he's getting tackled in the end zone. Although, I mean, I did say that was an impossible situation because you can't throw it out of bounds because that's intentional grounding. It's a safety either way. That was just a really bad showing for the Cardinals. They started off 7-0 and then they just completely collapsed, which I predicted. I don't know if Rasul Douglas deserves all the credit, but Rasul Douglas deserves all the credit because they just haven't been the same since. So I'll take that win for the Packers there and say the Packers are the reason why the Cardinals suck. But yeah, I mean, when you look at injury, they don't have an identity. Teams without an identity don't win in the playoffs. Yeah, the Cardinals aren't. The Cardinals are in the same boat as the Cowboys. They've got a lot of talent, but they don't have the right coach to take them the rest of the way. And in the playoffs, you got to have the right coach to take you the rest of the way.
Yeah, it's odd because I have a friend, shout out to Joe Tafuro. I served with him. He's from Arizona, and he actually has never liked Cliff Kingsbury. He didn't like the hire. Kyler Murray, just very quickly showed him his true colors. It's hard to win in the NFL, especially in the playoffs, when you call only 5 plays like your entire time, and it's run, screen, punt, run, screen, like. I get it. You don't have DeAndre Hopkins, and I think once he went down, what was that, week 14? I mean, it completely just and you didn't have JJ Watt all year, but once you lost Hopkins, your offense just fell off a cliff, and you have to be better than that. You can't just rely on the one player. That reflects directly on bad coaching, in my opinion. So we'll see what the Cardinals do. I don't know if Cliff Kingsbury's destined. I don't know if I don't follow college. Is the USC job open? I know his name was like tossed around that. I'm sure there's some college openings. I know a lot of people got fired or moved around, and college is a fucking cesspool now. Everybody's making money. It's great. I love it.
Oh yeah, I think you both hit it, right on the head. I mean, look, they obviously have lack of depth, and then also lack of direction from a coaching standpoint. What that game last night showed me is that the Cardinals and their entire coaching staff went in with some sort of game plan, or at least thought they had a game plan, and they didn't have shit. You don't. I mean, come on, to not get any points on the board until late in the third quarter for a playoff game is just absolutely unacceptable. And if I were a Cardinals fan last night, I would have went to bed at halftime. But yeah, it was an absolute joke.
I mean,
Tom
the other
Brady's
thing.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
The other thing too is the offense shouldn't have ever sputtered, right? I mean, yeah, you don't have DeAndre Hopkins, but you have Rondale Moore, who had a good season. You have Christian Kirk, who had a good. That's still, I thought, at least on paper, one of the better wide receiver corps in the league. Without, even if you take DeAndre Hopkins' name out of that wide receiver room, you still have 3 talented wide receivers and a veteran Super Bowl winning tight end in Zach Ertz, which was the reason why you got him, so that you can have another pass catcher and more talent on that offense. So yeah, that like Bert said, that just goes back to terrible game. There's no reason why that offense should have looked that anemic throughout the course of that playoff game when you have a Zach Ertz, AJ Green, who looked like his career was resurrected after leaving Cincinnati. You've got Christian Kirk, Rondale Moore, and you have James Conner, who I personally think is being seriously underused and undervalued in Arizona because he's a good back, and there's no way that even if you lose the game, there's no way that offense with that talent goes into that football game not scoring at least 21 points. I mean, because they're just too talented even without DeAndre Hopkins. Now, do you lose the game without DeAndre Hopkins? Yeah, because you don't have your best player, but you can't go 30 game minutes in what is like an hour and a half of real time without putting points on the board, and then a little more than that because, like Bert said, he didn't score to the end of the third. That's embarrassing. Cliff Kingsbury should be fired, and they should go hire Brian Flores, and maybe they'll be good because obviously. But
I mean, so now, coming up next weekend's matchup, we have 2 teams that basically absolutely destroyed their opponents this past weekend. The Bucs making even more of a joke of the NFC East than the Eagles. And of course, the Rams, who just absolutely demolished the Cardinals. Now, if I'm Bruce Arians and Tom Brady, am I a little bit terrified of what Matt Stafford can do right now? Or did the Cardinals just make Matt Stafford look like just an absolute monster on the field last night?
You know where I'm going.
I do.
Fuck Matt Stafford.
I had a feeling you were going to say this. So as a Packers fan, obviously, I've gone against my religion a lot this season because I've kind of defended Matt Stafford to a lot of people, right? Because I've always said that.
I think a lot of people have this season, though.
I've always said that Matt Stafford's very talented, just in a really bad situation. He's finally got a playoff win, but I don't know. I don't think that this. I have the Rams winning this game, by the way, and it's not because Matt Stafford's going to outplay Tom Brady, because he's not. What it is if you look at this, if you look at their game if you look at the win in week 3 and you look at what this team is now, all I kept saying about the Rams all season was, as talented as this defense was and had gotten with the addition of Von Miller, they hadn't had that statement Rams defense game that we were accustomed to seeing over the past couple of years. And then they just had it last night. Mm-hmm. This defense that we saw last night is not the defense that the Bucs saw in week 3. And I think that's going to be the difference, is that this defense is much oddly, even though it's all the same people and with an addition of Von Miller, this defense is much better. I think it's much more focused. And I think that I said it last week, and it was kind of crazy to say if they were going against the Eagles, but I think it even holds more weight now. This offense is not going to be able to dink and dunk its way through this defense. We just saw the Cardinals try to dink and dunk its way through the Rams this last night, and it didn't work. Yeah, like you got Tom Brady and Gronk, and you have Mike Evans, and you have Bruce Arians, obviously much better quarterback, wide receivers, talent, coaches. Obviously, don't get me wrong. I'm not at all questioning the ability of Tom Brady to get the job done. You can't bet against Tom Brady. It's like impossible. He proved, unless you're a Giants fan, but like you can't bet against Tom Brady. But this is a football team that's been ravaged with injury throughout the course of the season. The secondary is crazy. And we know that since they have OBJ, Sean McVay has loved running 4 verts. And if there's any team with any wacky secondary you want to run 4 verts against, it's this one, because their secondary is garbage. The strength of this football team is the front 7. I think this offensive line can hold up. Against the front 7. And also, Cam Akers coming back from an Achilles injury in less than 6 months and like posting was almost 100 yards last night means that they finally have the running game that they were ever so lacking throughout the course of the season. Yeah. So they also now get to tap into that play action game that's also very important with this Sean McVay offense. So yes, I think the Rams are going to punch the Bucs in the mouth. Ooh. And I truly believe, and I said it last week because I thought that the matchup between the Bucs and the Eagles mirrored a lot to the Bucs and the Washington football team's matchup last season in the playoffs. But no, this one, forget all that. The Rams are going to punch the Bucs in the mouth, and it's going to take Tom Brady to do one of those come from behind wins against the Jets it's going to take a lot out of Tom. And Tom's great, and I love Tom. Tom's fantastic. And Tom might even win MVP this season because he kept his mouth shut and didn't say anything stupid, unlike Aaron Rodgers. But this football team that the Rams have is much better than week 3. And I think this is going to be a very physical game for the Rams coming in. Yeah. I don't think the Bucs have that fit. I don't think they're going to be able to match physicality with the Rams offensively or defensively.
I mean, you might be onto something here because the last time the Bucs had the match physicality was against the Saints and they were blanked, completely. So I also think the Rams are winning this. I'll even go on record by saying I think they're winning it by at least a touchdown. I don't think it's going to be as close as a lot of people think. And I do think the defense is certainly going to show up. Loved Kaz's little post down there. Like, it's Matt Stafford, man. Come on.
So thank you. And I was going to come back to it. Congratulations, Matt Stafford. Finally, after 13 goddamn years, you decided to win a game in the playoffs. You had Megatron. There's no excuse. I don't care who your coach was. You had Jim Caldwell.
Who I think should get hired by one of these teams.
And he will. Yeah. Germ's prediction, he'll be hired by a football team. I don't know if it'll be pro. Hopefully it will be, but he'll be coaching somewhere.
Giants should give him a call if they haven't already.
Hey, word on the streets. There's some Brian Flores, Deshaun Watson back alley conversations happening in Gotham City. Bert, hey,
I
I've been
think
massaged tables.
I think the Giants are hedging their bets on Russell Wilson and asking for a trade. Although I think Russell Wilson will end up in New Orleans. Honestly.
Giants about to hire the Bills' assistant
Adam
GM,
Lewis.
by the way.
You said who's the assistant GM?
Yeah, Joe Schoen. He had a second interview with us, I think, today.
Oh, the only one with a second interview.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the coveted second interview. All right. Yeah, Russell Wilson's going to he's going to New Orleans. Shout out to Adam Lewis. So yeah, it's Matt Stafford. All right, Hall of Very Good. Good job. You won the playoff game after 13 years. Good for you. It's over. Tom Brady. Never doubting him again. I've watched him for 20 years. And I hate Tom Brady, but it is what it is. That was the other point. I'm going to bring it back to the Bills Chiefs real quick. That preview of that game. That was the one stat I actually researched that I wanted to bring up. Another reason why we're going to win. The Chiefs are the worst, the fourth worst team in the league against play action pass. Guess who's the number one team in play action passing? The Buffalo Bills.
And I love it. And I love watching the Bills run play action, especially early in the season, because I was like, there's no way you're running play action and you don't have a run game. But clearly I was wrong because they do it so well.
And I hate bringing it back to it, but you guys got on a good conversation about the Rams and it made me think of it because Kaz left. I don't hope he gets the Buffalo Bills and the Bucket of Doom, which is coming up a little bit later. I'm trying to go through my notes here. I mean, other than that, Joe Burrow, king of the AFC North.
The Bengals. This might be a bit of a hot take, and it might get me banned from coming back on the show, but that's fine. I'll take it.
We're big Bengals guys here.
I think the Bengals have a legitimate shot to go to the Super Bowl. I really do. And I said that a couple weeks ago, like mid-season, and people were like, yeah, but it's the AFC. But when you look specifically at what the Bengals did this past week against the Raiders, which the Raiders crawled into the playoffs, absolutely, but that is a football team with no offensive line, and they were able to hold their own against a team with a really good pass rush. Every defense that they're going to face potentially from this point on has a better secondary, better linebacker core, and better pass rush than what the Raiders do. And they looked fine, right? Like you didn't want to look at the Bengals in that game and think, yikes, like Joe Burrow's going to get beat down. Now, if they match up against the Bills or the Chiefs, he'll probably get beat down because they have a much more furious pass rush. But I've been saying all season, he's a national champion. He's never going to have that deer in the headlights look. I think the most intriguing matchup of all the potential matchups for the AFC Championship is Bills Bengals, because it just makes we've already seen the Bengals beat the Chiefs. I have confidence that if they go into Kansas City, they can do it again. No one really wants to see the Titans in the AFC Championship game. No one really wants to see that. So it doesn't matter.
I mean, I bet you if you're from Tennessee, you do.
Well, yeah, if you're from Tennessee,
you want to see. They're like the San Antonio Spurs of football. Like they're just boring. Like I know you're good.
Yeah, there's nothing flashy outside of Derrick Henry on that football and AJ Brown on that football team. So it's like, and we know no one wants to turn on their TV Championship Sunday and watch the Bills or the Chiefs just absolutely beat down on the Titans. No one wants to see that. They want to see a good AFC Championship game, and I think the Bengals, no matter where it is, it's going to be the Bengals could go to the Super Bowl. Now, I want the Bills to go because I want Roger Goodell to change the location so that we can get a outside venue and some cold weather game. I think it'd be great. Packers, Bills.
Hell no.
And some cold weather.
Baby. I want Josh Allen drinking gin and juice with Snoop and Dr. Dre. Frank Novick says, I hear Stafford's drinking fast break coffee before games. Yeah. Go on over to www.fastbreakcoffee.com. Even if he is, I'm still never going to like him. So, fuck you, Matt Stafford.
Yeah, I mean, look,
1,000% true.
I mean, overall, I think a lot of the games went how we expected this past weekend. The Bengals Raiders was definitely going to be a shootout that we knew about, and Joe Burrow held his own. And yes, do they have a shot at making it to the Super Bowl? They're playing next weekend, so yeah, they have a shot. Is it likely? No, but I mean, who knows? Weirder shit has happened. The Giants won twice off of a wild card spot, and at one point, nobody thought they were going to make it past wild card weekend in itself. So anything could happen in itself. I think there's two definites coming out of the weekend. One, Tom Brady showed the world that he is certainly still king, at least beating up on the NFC. And two, there shouldn't be any more Monday night wild card weekend games. I don't like it. I don't know how you guys feel about it. I was ready to watch as much football as possible Saturday and Sunday, and then sitting there all day on Monday going, oh man, I gotta wait like till like 8:15, 8:30 to see this other game. Like, come on, man, people got work. Let's go. Like, I got work in the morning. Like, let's get this out of the way. You know?
Yeah. I prefer the 3. I preferred how they did it last year with the 3 on Saturday, 3 on Sunday. Just makes the most sense.
The Monday, I get that's what that
it's
is.
all a money grab.
Liberal media.
Yeah.
That's who it is. It's liberal media at its finest. So yeah, the mild card weekend. Hope never do the Monday night game again. This just in: Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott apologizes for praising fans who threw trash at refs and apologizes for blaming them for the end of games. Blah 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 blah. Yeah, that was dirty. Don't be throwing throw it at the team. Listen. I am pro throwing trash at players, but don't give it up on the refs. The old WCW, they used to throw trash in the ring all the time. It was great.
They used to throw a lot of things
and everything
in the ring. We're talking batteries,
chairs.
I mean, they let wrestlers have.
Look, if fans want to throw things, that's fine, but don't be surprised when one of those players turns around and decides to throw hands. I'm
also pro player beating up fans. Shout out to the Malice at the Palace, man. So
that was so brutal.
Yeah,
beautiful thing to say.
I did this out of order. Here we go. Let's see. This is what I want right here. Okay, Bert. Top 5, bottom 3.
Let's go.
I think I'll go first here. Let me pull up my list for the NBA season. We got to start talking. I got to start watching more basketball. I've paid attention, but it's NFL season and my Bills are good, so I'm usually clocked out. You know what I mean? This is weird. This is a weird feeling watching my Bills be on top, but now I've been watching basketball the last 2 weeks. Top 5, I'll probably go 5. I'm going to do 5-1. I'll start number 5, Grizzlies. Just 10 out of the 11 games. They started off as one of the worst defensive teams in the league. Now they're one of the best. And 2 words for you: Ja Morant, human highlight reel. The guy's amazing. So shout out to them. The Bucks. It's not that they've been bad. It's just the teams above them have just been that much better. Giannis is carrying that team. That team is built solid. So shout out to the Bucks. Number 3, the Miami Heat. Just crazy that Jimmy Butler hasn't been out. They've still been playing this well. Eric Spoelstra could probably coach a bunch of JV guys and somehow make the playoffs. So that team is put together really well. Number 3, Golden State Warriors. Klay Thompson's back. The fact that they've been this good without him this whole time is amazing, and they're going to get even better. They're losing Draymond Green, which is like their top defensive player. Once they get him back and then they get their former top pick, James Wiseman, back, it's probably a wrap for everybody else. And number 1, Phoenix Suns. It's hard to argue anything they've done all year. They haven't been a fluke. They've won a lot of games. I'm not a big fan of Devin Booker complaining about the one fan in Toronto that was chastising him, which was the Toronto Raptors mascot while he was at the foul line. Not a fan of that. But Monty Williams got them as one of the top 10 offensive teams. So whatever prostitute that was banging them in the bubble down there in Florida did something to that team, because ever since then they've been one of the best teams in the NBA. So shout out to them. Bottom 3, Magic, Pistons, Rockets. When you're the Rockets, you're number 30. When your 2 best players, or 2 of the 3 best players, are getting kicked out of the team at halftime, fighting with the coach and acting crazy, during a loss, a really bad loss. So Rockets, get it together. That's my top 5, bottom 3.
Nice. Let's move over to the NHL. Top 5. Number 1 has to go to the Panthers. Absolute beast in the Eastern Conference, on top of the Atlantic Division. They're just such a high-powered offense right now with 158 goals for. At some point seem unstoppable, but at other times seem a little bit more like a human-like team, especially when losing to my New York Rangers, which brings me to my number 2. And a lot of people are going to look at my list going, "Oh man, you homer, you put the Rangers up there." Yes, I put my blue shirts up there, and that's only because. Thank you. That's only because, yes, they have 3 less points than the Lightning do, and the Lightning probably should be in the second spot on most people's lists, especially back-to-back champs going for their 3rd in a row. But overall, especially for the last game of the 2021, last game in 2021, my Rangers beat the Tampa Bay Lightning in a shootout, and then the first game in 2022 routed the Lightning. The home matchup, and especially your boy was there too, making sure that happened, cheering him on. So the Lightning for me fell to number 3. I mean, look, a high-powered offense as well, 135 goals for. The reason, aside from the fact that I'm a Ranger fan, that I ranked them number 3, and the Rangers number 2 is also the Rangers defensively are a stronger team. I wholeheartedly believe that. I think they only have about 95 goals against, whereas the Lightning have like 118. You got to take a look at that too. 4 and 5 both come from the Western Conference. The Avalanche, certainly another young core, great defensive core, but also phenomenal offensive team. Right now sitting at 53 points, only played 36 games on average. That's about 3 less games than everybody else in the league. So you know for sure they're doing something good and have time to make up. And then lastly, finishing out with the Blues, another phenomenally offensive team. A little bit lower from a standing standpoint, but you can't argue their offense over someone else like let's say the Carolina Hurricanes. Sorry, Jerome, I know you're local, but you have to take things in consideration like goals for and goals against. I mean, you can't be dropping a lot of pucks in the net. Otherwise, it's just gonna obviously put you at a detriment in itself. That is the game. So I went with the Blues overall. I think they're just more equally balanced when it comes down to offense and defense than the Hurricanes are. Hurricanes are playing great hockey, and we'll see how the rest of the season pans out. I mean, God knows that they're a stable team because they're made up of, New York Ranger leftovers that we didn't want anymore, so they had to play somewhere, which is why they're down in Carolina. Bottom 3, real quick: Seattle, the Kraken, the Phoenix Coyotes, and then Montreal Canadiens. Montreal, I mean, it's a good thing that Canada didn't allow fans, or probably still aren't allowing fans into their arena, because Montreal had an abysmal 19 points, only 7 wins on the season, which is just absolutely disgusting.
Canada, victims of
liberal media.
All right. Kaz says, fire that homer. The Pens are the best team in hockey right now.
Okay, guys. All right.
Mike says, mild card weekend. You damn right, mild card weekend. Never do it again, Roger Goodell. I've been championing you. I'm one of the very few people that cheer you when you come onto that draft stage. I love everything you do. You've saved the NFL. You're the best commissioner in sports. But knock it off. Okay.
I don't know if he's the best commissioner in sports, though.
The best.
I'd hang my head on Adam Silver as the best commissioner in sports.
Hey, Adam Silver, take the Raptors away from Toronto. Move them back to Seattle. Canada doesn't deserve the NBA, even though they make up like 33% of the NBA revenue because they have a whole country supporting one team, which I just found out, which is ridiculous. Now I understand.
Entire country supporting one team. Yeah.
So I don't understand. So either just give them more teams, matter of fact. I turned around. I changed my mind. Hey, give Canada more teams. The pencils down, Reese, please. Jeez, this guy. All right, so top 5, bottom 3. Marcus, you have any reaction to that?
Yeah, the one thing I'll say, and maybe it's because I'm not the biggest Giannis fan, but also just statistically speaking, I would rank the Bucks at this current moment 6th. Like, they'd be just outside. I put the
so you're pushing the Bucks out of my top 5. So who is now entering the club? Who's coming?
I just swap them out with the Nets.
Gotcha. Okay.
I now it's interesting because the one thing I will say about the Nets is, and I mean this wholeheartedly, if the Nets win the chip this season, that would not be good for basketball. Just for a part-time player to win a championship. I also think that paying the $68,000 $8,000 it would cost to have Kyrie Irving play every home game in the playoffs is chump change, and the front office of the Nets should do that. And if they don't, would really just show how much faith they have in Kyrie Irving 1 and 2 and their ability to win a chip this season.
They should absolutely do it now because Kevin Durant's going to be out the next 4 to 6 weeks, and with his knee sprain or whatever he has. And don't you worry, Marcus, about the Brooklyn Nets ever winning a championship. You know why it's not going to happen? Because James Harden's on the team.
That's good. And you know what? You're right, because I'm a Rockets fan, and I don't think I thought that watching James Harden choke 2 years in a row in the Western Conference Finals against the Warriors was the worst thing ever. But then you look at what the Rockets are doing right now, and it's just
listen. I'm not saying that James Harden, Russell Westbrook, these guys, they come from the Steve Francis cloth. You were individually great, talented basketball. I know you can play the game of basketball. You can play basketball, but that's street ball stuff. Yeah. We're watching Russell Westbrook actually have to play NBA basketball, and he can't do it because he's just an athlete. He's just a skilled, give me the ball, I'll make it happen, and nobody on the court's better than me. But there's an art to playing NBA basketball. This isn't pickup league. This isn't the Drew League out in Seattle. This is professional basketball, and we're watching people like Russell Westbrook, who's padded his stats, James Harden, who's padded his stats, never won a thing. And if my Philadelphia 76ers, Daryl Morey, that fat walrus, goes anywhere near James Harden, I'm going to be pissed, bro.
That's what I was going to say too. Yeah, I think actually, I didn't even think about that. The 76ers, I think, are a top 5 team in the NBA right now too.
Yeah, for sure. Which is amazing considering everything that's happening with them.
Yeah, considering everything that's going on. I mean, look, I thought that despite injury last season, Joel Embiid should have still been the MVP because he was just one of the most efficient players in the league last season and the most efficient player in the playoffs until they got eliminated. But 76ers have been doing, I think, a lot better than most people expected because all this has been Simmons stuff. And it's crazy to think that like a couple of years ago when we were talking about breaking up this marriage of Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, everyone was saying Joel Embiid needs to go. And now, like 2-3 years later, Joel Embiid is, I would say, the best center in basketball. And I think he has a legitimate argument as being the best big man in basketball. And that includes Giannis Antetokounmpo. Because I mean, it's crazy.
MVP front runner. I would give him. If you look at his stats, he should be the MVP front runner. I don't know if it's. I don't know what it is. He might slide in there now that Kevin Durant's going to be out for a while. So maybe that'll happen. Michael says Kyrie doesn't want them to do it. It takes away from his protest of people who've lost their jobs because they aren't vaccinated. All right, man. I don't know. He also thinks the Earth's flat, and he drinks the crystal waters of the purification links out in wherever fucking Area 51. So you can't really take what he's saying at face value. Okay. Bert, next week on the 25th, we will find out who is getting into the MLB Hall of Fame. Last year, we didn't have anybody. This year, there is some the old-timey heads that have been keeping us from all these great players. The worst voters, Hall of Fame voters in the world belong to MLB. They're going to start running out of excuses here pretty soon because these ballots are quickly filling up with these steroid guys. And listen, we're pro steroids here at Stuff About Sports. We love steroids. Steroids save baseball.
Oh, they did.
Put it on the poll. Okay. Did steroids save baseball? Yes or no?
Yes.
So here we are. I had a ballot up here. I'm just going to read the names on the ballot. I'm just going to run through them really fast, but we're only going to talk about the big names. Okay. We got Bobby Abreu, Barry Bonds, Mark Burrow, Roger Clemens, Carl Crawford, Prince Fielder, Todd Helton, Ryan Howard, Tim Hudson, Torrey Hunter, Andrew Jones, Jeff Kent, Tim Lincecum, Justin Morneau, Joe Nathan, David Ortiz, Jonathan Papelbon, Jake Peavy, Andy Pettit. Fuck you, Andy Pettit. AJ Przinsky, Manny Ramirez.
We're going to skip
Alex
over
Rodriguez.
Papelbon and not say anything. Arguably one of the worst teammates, and barely even has like half a point to his voting
Andy
name right
Pettit,
now. But you're going to say "fuck you" to Andy Pettit? Are you out of your mind?
What team did Andy Pettit play for? I can't
Get
remember.
the fuck out of here! You don't do
it was
this
them
to me.
Yankees.
Don't you dare troll me.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot he played for the Yankees. My bad. Alex Rodriguez, friend of the show. Scott Rowland, Jimmy Rollins, Kurt Schilling, Gary Sheffield, Sammy Sosa, Mark Teixeira, and Omar Vizquel, Billy Wagner. So that's a loaded ballot. I'm not sure how many names get to go in. Andy played for the Astros. Never mind. I like you, Andy Pettit. All right, cool. We're good. 5-time
World Series winner, you motherfucker.
Barry needs to get in. It's a travesty. All right, so Kaz, let's just get to it. The big three are Kurt Schilling, Barry Bonds, and Roger Clemens. Barry Bonds, gentlemen, do we think he gets in right on his last year of eligibility?
The only reason he hasn't been voted in already is because of this whole steroid thing and everything else. And this is what's an absolute shame. And this is what, I mean, if I'm being like cards on the table, completely being honest, I can't stand baseball writers, and I can't stand the voting process. I think it's absolutely ridiculous. You're going to leave it so subjective up to writers in terms of absolute like voting on a ballot. Mariano Rivera, the best closer in baseball history, period, just based off his stats. Somebody wants to jump in and argue with me, go for it. Guess what? I don't fucking care what your argument is. It's not true, because all you got to do is look at the history books and look at his stats. But there was a writer last year that decided to omit his ballot because, or what like a couple years ago when he was voted in, he decided to omit his ballot his vote, because rather than vote no, he shouldn't get in, or not vote for him, it wouldn't have been basically he was the only guy who unanimously voted into the Hall of Fame. So he basically chose not to vote at all, and there was a guy, it was a beat writer out of the Boston area, shocking, who said, you know what, I'm just not going to vote for anybody this year, and didn't count it, and then wrote an article about it too. So you give these writers voting power, which all they should do is look up positional stats and how they fare against other individuals that are already in the Hall of Fame. I think it's as easy as can be. Baseball is saturated with phenomenal players, but I think that should make it even more exclusive to who gets into the Hall of Fame. You can't vote everybody in there. And we shouldn't have guys like Papelbon even on the ballot. I think personally think it's ridiculous comparison to other pitchers that have been voted in, other pitchers that are on the ballot too. But going back to Barry Bonds, I think he should be in. There's no reason why he shouldn't. And honestly, steroids save baseball. Any type of allegations, or even if you did take them in itself, who cares? You still had to play the ball. You still had to hit, fastballs coming in at you at 98, 99, and he deserves to be in there. Just like Pete Rose deserves to be in there. Just like Alex Rodriguez deserves to be in there. Take any of those controversies away and just put him in the Hall. For the love of God, let's go.
Shame on you, Rob Manfred, and whoever's going to be running baseball, because you guys are going to wait until Pete Rose dies. You let him go by, not being able to get elected into the Hall of Fame, and you guys are going to put him in after he dies, after like 5-6 years after he dies. Then they're going to make a big deal of it.
Bet on his team to win. He wasn't throwing games.
He wasn't throwing games.
His team to win.
And even if he was, who fucking cares? Who cares? Who cares? It doesn't take away.
I would care if he was throwing games. I
mean, but like if he was throwing games or if he was betting, well, yeah, if he was throwing games, that's different. Yeah. But he wasn't throwing games, and it doesn't. Even if he was, and honestly, you know what? Fuck that, Bert. Even if he was, it doesn't take away from the stuff he did on the field. That actually makes him greater if he was throwing games. So it doesn't like it. I don't understand that. He said deficient with your hockey, but you're spot on with your baseball. So listen, Barry Bonds should get in on the very simple fact, Bert, that Barry Bonds actually never got caught taking steroids. Did he not? He never tested positive, as far as I know.
I don't believe he did.
They got him on some bullshit report. Anybody's name could be in on that. Yeah. I don't know. But as far as I know, he's never failed a drug test or a steroid test or whatever have you. Mm-hmm. Mike says Bonds was a Hall of Famer before Jordan tried to play baseball. That's the other argument. If you want to take away just his steroid years, he was already a Hall of Famer. If you look at his Pittsburgh Pirate career and all these other things, mm-hmm. But I think he'll also get in simply. I think this is more of a more harsher Terrell Owens thing, where the writers don't like Barry Bonds, so they're gonna make him wait until the last year of his eligibility, much like they denied Terrell Owens being a first ballot Hall of Famer, even though a deaf, blind, and dumb monkey could tell you that Terrell Owens is one of the top 3 receivers of all time. Bill Balu is the jerk off who didn't vote for Mariano Rivera. Sir, you are a loser. You're a loser. Your entire career is a loser career. Your families are losers. Everything about you is loserish. We don't condone that. You're an idiot. So
actually, this is Barry Bonds' last year of eligibility.
That's what I'm saying. That's why he'll get in me. Because
him, Clemens, Schilling, and Sosa are those 4 alone. And reading off those names, tell me who's not a Hall of Famer on those. I mean, reading off those names alone, you don't think Sammy Sosa is a Hall of Famer? You've got to.
Hell no.
How?
Sosa is the Manny Pacquiao of baseball. No, Mark McGwire. Okay, that's what. Thank you for saying that. Sammy Sosa is the Manny Pacquiao of baseball. Manny Pacquiao was only famous because he just happened to be the second best boxer, or what people perceived as the second best boxer after Floyd Mayweather. So now he has to fight the best boxer. Once Floyd Mayweather embarrassed him and sent him packing back to the Philippines to go build straw huts or whatever the fuck he was doing over there.
Jesus Christ.
Running for governor of, I mean, I don't even know how you could call yourself what was he? The president of whatever. How can you be a president of like 10 people in some fucking straw village? I don't, fuck you, Pacquiao. Stealing a bunch of our money over here for being a bum. We hyped Manny Pacquiao up. They gave him a Gatorade commercial, bro. And for what? To get embarrassed by Floyd not once, but twice? I mean, get out of here. Get out of here. And that's you, Sammy Sosa. You just happen to be the next guy who was hitting home runs after Mark McGwire. You just happen to be doing steroids just there with him. And we just thrust you right there. And you had the home run chase and it was all beautiful. But if it wasn't for Mark McGwire, you'd be nothing. You would be nothing, because who broke the record that year, Bert? Tell me. Mark McGwire, not Sammy Sosa. Okay.
So coming in second doesn't matter.
Fuck no. First loser.
Yeah.
Sammy got to be in, says Michael. What else has Sammy done?
Yeah.
What else? What else has he done? Besides
consistently crush homers? I mean, I don't know. He wouldn't be on the ballot if he wasn't obviously up there. But I mean, if you want to sit here and think that second doesn't matter, that's perfectly fine. I mean, tell me what Jim Kelly's in the Football
I want to know
Hall of
what
Fame
else
then.
he's done.
I mean, he notoriously came in second numerous years. Poor guy couldn't win a fucking Super Bowl, and then there he is with a gold jacket. But no, coming in second doesn't matter.
Who'd you say?
Oh, Jim Kelly.
Jim Kelly.
Just some guy named Jim Kelly.
Listen, he had cancer. Don't talk about Jim Kelly like that.
Come on, this was don't you wrap that into this? Don't you dare!
God,
don't you dare!
The man had cancer.
I gotta side with Burn on this one though. Jim Kelly's 0-4 in the Super Bowl, and he's a Hall of Famer.
He's also what you're saying is they went to the Super Bowl 4 times. Anybody else do that? Anybody else win the AFC title 4 times in a row?
I'm sure if they did, they might win.
I think the Patriots won the AFC title 4 years in a row. Most recently,
I don't know about that.
I think they did. They did.
We'll see. Well, so it's hard, is what you're saying. Out of all the history of football, it's a hard thing to do. Yeah, fuck the Patriots too. But let's see. Also, we're gonna act like baseball athletes. I don't know what Mike was trying to say there.
What did he say?
Change his skin color. Yeah, he's in the Hall of Fame.
Sammy Sosa is. Yeah, he did right.
Yeah, he's a white cowboy now. He was a Cuban baseball legend, and now he's a white cowboy. If anybody wants to go ahead and Google what Sammy Sosa looks like now, it's bad. Yeah, cork bat. I mean, geez, he cheated twice. Still came in second. Ridiculous.
I mean, look, Kurt Schilling, Roger Clemens too. I mean,
anybody else?
We know why Clemens isn't in the Hall of Fame right now, and that's because of his whole steroid ring and lying in front of court and everything else like that.
But he's in his last year of eligibility, so I think he falls into the Barry Bonds where he'll get in. The interesting one to me, Bird, is David Ortiz, where he famously said, if anybody gets caught taking steroids, and this was after the Ryan Braun steroid, him getting caught. He said, if anybody gets caught taking steroids, they should be kicked out of a game. And like 2 weeks later, he got caught taking steroids. And so, I mean, I don't know. All these guys are steroids guys. But I think the only 3, if I had to bet any money, I think only 3 are going to get in this year, maybe 4. I would say Ortiz, Bonds, and Clemens. A-Rod's not going to get in this year. I think he will get in eventually, but I don't think Manny's going to get in. Scott Rowland can probably get in. I don't think Kurt Schilling's going to get in.
Unfortunately, I don't either. I mean, you can certainly make the argument that he can. I think every year, I think we have this conversation. Baseball has to do something about this process. Yeah. They do. It's atrocious. It's not. I wouldn't even say that it's a fair process by any means. They need to do something like the NFL does, like committee-wise. I mean, you have to make these decisions at a certain level, and not leave it up to fucking beatnik writers, obscure beat writers, from a small publication, being able to cast their vote in itself. They have to take it seriously.
All right. So hopefully these guys get into the Hall of Fame. We're going to find out next week. Bert won't be here, but Mike will be here with me, and we'll react to that. All right, guys. Getting down to the nitty-gritty. Bucket of Doom. Playoff Eliminator Challenge. The guys who won move on. We're going to pick all new teams. JT and the Don. Somehow we did not cheat, guys. They pulled the Packers and they pulled the Titans, but now they're going to actually have to compete and sweat like everybody else. I'm just going in. I just put it in some random order. Frank Novick, definitely. He says, anybody else lose 4 Super Bowls 4 times? Yeah, all right, man. Enough. All right. Steve Zuccari, you're up. I believe you had the Chiefs last in the first round. You now have against the Bills. You have the Titans. I don't know who they're playing. The Titans are playing the Bengals. So.
Yeah, I think I got the Bengals.
LJ, Lawrence Whitaker, friend of the show. You have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
And he went from the Bucs now to the Bills this year.
Yeah, this week I'm having a good run. Michael A. Simmons, you have the Kansas City Chiefs. JT, Jimmy T from JT and the Don has the Bengals. Okay. Kaz has the Buffalo Bills. Ha! He said he didn't want the Bills earlier in the
Yep,
show.
he got him.
After you talked all that shit. Don't worry, buddy. Don't worry, man. You're gonna win. So enjoy. Actually, you probably fucking lose now that Kaz has it. He's bad luck, man.
Ooh.
This fucking guy. Don from JT and the Don. You have the Rams. James Schneider, super friend of the show. Shout out to her. She gave me some Washington insight, buddy. She used to work for the Washington racial slurs, and I'm gonna unveil what she told me earlier. Even though I don't think I'm allowed to, but I'm gonna say it anyway. She has the Packers. She's a Packers fan, so shout out to her. Okay, Frank Novick, you have the 49ers. So I can't put it back, sir. We don't do that in the playoff eliminator challenge. You're stuck with the Bills, buddy. Don't be mad because Ben Roethlisberger is getting a pass on rape because he's retiring, and everybody likes
what's
him now.
so funny?
He's
so funny about that. Me and my friends were just joking about that the other day. We were like, the only reason why he's still playing around is because he's waiting for the statute of limitations to expire, so that when he finally retires, they can't come knocking on his door. See, not just a hat rack, my friend.
Hey, couple things. One, legend. Two, he's settled. Three, rape is nothing to joke about.
It is nothing to joke about. You're 1,000% right.
But
right, my bad.
Good show, great show, by the way.
Thank
but
you.
Ben Roethlisberger definitely playing to avoid that. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's starting to.
He's begging Mike
turn
Tomlin
on
year
a
over year. He's like, please, just one more season, please. That's all I need.
One more season. I know I look like a giant fucking statue out there, but please, I can hand the ball off. I can throw 3-yard screen passes, and
please, my face is big enough to just be the O-line at this point. Just put me out there.
All the horse tranquilizers, just shoot them in my eyeballs, and let's get it going.
That's how you avoid COVID, I heard.
Yeah, well, listen, that is how you avoid COVID. Let's see here. Let me update these polls real quick, Bert. We got a bunch of them. Shout out to everybody who's been participating in the polls. I did put on the poll earlier, does Nick Sirianni look like stepfatherhood? I was watching the game. I said, yo, he looks like somebody's stepdad. He really does. 71% of the audience said yes. Oops, not this one. Not this one. These are old polls. Here we go. Would you rather hit a game-winning three-pointer or walk-off home run to win a championship? What do you guys say? What do you say, Bert?
Oh, walk-off home run.
Marcus?
They're both so cool. I don't have the hand-eye coordination to hit a walk-off home run, so I'm gonna pick that one.
Yeah,
I just like it's so much better. It's like so much.
I do
better.
too. Like the swish, there's defense. You know what I mean? But 68% of the audience agreed with Bert, and it's a walk-off home run. I do like it. It's nice, like when the pressure's on and you hit that homer, and all eyes are on you.
Crack that bat. You got your little your.
But I think
around
the
bases,
sound effects
bro.
are so much better.
Yeah.
In
baseball, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it absolutely is.
Oh my God, we just got.
There's nothing better than a beautiful crack of a bat.
I know.
Nothing better.
I will say I love it when someone hits like that walk-off three to win the game, and like the court just gets rushed by everyone, and you just lose the team in the crowd. There's nothing cooler than that.
Chaos Cat says it's Mason time, baby. Nah, man. Mitch Trubisky's coming to save Pittsburgh. Don't worry about it. Mitch Trubisky.
Jimmy Garoppolo is coming.
Jimmy Graps.
I'm actually, one of the things I'm doing as soon as the playoffs is over is talking about Jimmy G, which is unfortunate. I don't really like talking about Jimmy G. No, but I've got a whole episode planned about where Jimmy G is going to go and who needs to go get him. The Steelers absolutely should go get Jimmy G.
Nice.
I had a stat about Jimmy G, and now I can't seem to find it. I don't know if I tossed it. I don't know what I did. But basically it was their record with Jimmy G and their record without
the
it.
49ers are 33-15 when Jimmy G plays. They're 8-18 without him or something like that.
Careful what you wish for is all I'm saying. Thank you, Marcus. Clutch. Divide. The guys from the Divide said walk off. They're going to the Baseball Hall of Fame and dressed as a giant syringe. So if you're going to be anywhere near that, go shout out to the Divide. Frank Novick says home run. So yeah, the home run's cool. Just we'll see. Universal DH is expected to arrive, guys. All right. Should there be a universal DH? 88% of the audience said yes. Does Matt Stafford look like his father owns the company? 89% of the audience said yes. Did steroids save baseball? 83% of the audience said yes. Should MLB adopt a pitch clock like the minors have for the 2022 season?
1,000% yes.
1,000%. 71% of the audience said yes. Should the Super Bowl, we just talked about wild card weekend being the 3 games, the first weekend, 3 games Saturday, 3 games Sunday. But should the Super Bowl be played on Saturday? What do you guys think?
Yeah.
What about you, Marcus?
No.
No?
What?
Oh, no. You're a big fan of Super Bowl Sunday?
The only reason why I'm a big fan of Super Bowl Sunday is because I'm a very big believer that Super Bowl Monday should be a holiday and we should have school.
Now we're talking, Marcus.
Okay.
So
now
as long
you're
as
on to something.
as long as Super Bowl Sunday, see, not just a hat rack, not just a hat. As long as Super Bowl as long as the Super Bowl's on Sunday, there's always a legitimate fight that someone will pass a bill to make Super Bowl Monday a holiday. Easter Monday's a holiday. You don't go to school the Monday after Christmas. All these holidays, the Monday after you don't go to school. But I'm supposed to watch the Packers win the Super Bowl and then not be able to sit back and enjoy life on Monday. No. Super Bowl Monday should be a holiday.
Okay.
Should be. Yeah, we're coming in drunk.
Super Bowl Monday is the second most hungover day of the year after New Year's Day.
I believe it. I believe it.
Promise you that.
Damn right.
1,000%. I mean, that's that's exactly my thought as to why I wanted it on a Saturday, because there's nothing worse than going to work after watching, Super Bowl Sunday and just be miserable for 2 reasons. One, because you ate and drank too much for the game the night before, and 2, you're sad because football's over until August.
You need a time on that Monday after to just get it all out.
I'm Marcus for
fucking guy. Marcus living in 2030, man.
Let's go.
Yeah, I'm telling you,
this guy's living in the future, bro. This guy's living in the future.
Yeah, man.
52% of the audience said no. So a lot of people are with you. They like Super Bowl Sunday. Antonio Brown, he plays football. He's a wide receiver. He probably should play defensive back or cornerback because he's really good at backpedaling. He's taken back some of the words that he's saying about Tom Brady, and he's saying, "Oh, that's my friend," and blah 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 blah. And maybe I didn't handle things right, but he said that after a weekend tryst with Madonna and Kanye West and a bunch of the other Looney Tunes out there. So Antonio Brown was hanging out with Kanye and Madonna. Does it all make sense?
And Floyd.
And Floyd Mayweather.
Bro, if you took a list of all notable celebrities in the entire world and you put them in like some sort of randomizer, like the same one Germ uses for the bucket of doom thing, you would never be able to come up with a combination of who hung out last week. Like who hung out last week. You had Antonio Brown, you had Kanye, Madonna, and Floyd. Like what the fuck?
What is that?
What is going on? It was weirdness all around.
74% says yes, it makes sense now. So the other thing that came out of that, Antonio Brown lasting 30 seconds with a woman of the evening, spilt all the tea. I guess he has a track record of not paying his chef, not paying his therapist, and apparently he didn't pay her. So she went out and said, he planned that whole walking out of the team thing. He told me what I was doing and da 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 da. And it begged the question. I put it on the poll, Bert. Are unpaid sex workers the most honest people on the planet? And 67% of the audience said yes. Of course they
have to be.
Yeah, for sure.
They have to be. Because if there's one thing you're not going to lie about, it's your money.
Yep. Yeah.
And you're not going to lie about a nasty man who didn't pay you.
Yep. Yeah.
You're just not.
I try. Yeah, those are the people.
Because it's more embarrassing for the man that didn't pay you than it is for you.
We're just paying for the service.
Yeah. People know what I am. It's full transparency over here. You didn't pay. That makes you the biggest loser. And listen, we all watch a lot of cop shows, watch a lot of Law and Order. Who are the cops' number one CIs? They're the prostitutes because they know what the deal is. Should you expect the world-class athlete to last more than 30 seconds in bed? 57% of the audience said yes.
I don't think you should.
You don't think you should?
No,
I think.
I think you got
Is Josh Allen a Greek god? 64% of the audience said yes. Should NFL referees be fined by the NFL for terrible calls or egregious errors? They're not.
Yeah, and I mean not just fine, but like performance reviews. I mean, shit.
Well, no, that's the thing. They do get Jerome Boger, his officiating crew is not officiating any more games in this playoff. They do they do get penalized and graded, and so that is technically a penalty where they may not be able to officiate certain amount of games every year or as many as others. But I'm talking about actual fines. They're not actually fined money, and I'm asking, should they be? 83% of the audience said yes.
Should.
By the way,
they 1,000% should. I mean, you look at that, the Bengals game, like it's not. Oftentimes we talk about a lot, like with close games, like if you've been calling it pretty loose all game, right? Don't call a DPI that could go either way in the last 30 seconds of the game that could make or break the game, right? So my dad, he is a college official. He's an ump. And we have these conversations all the time about just how abysmal NFL and NBA officiating is. Now, I tend to err on the side that you get what you paid for. And if I'm not mistaken, NFL officials aren't paid that much. Maybe if you paid them more, they'd be better. But no, seriously though, like a lot of these calls are like just flat out stupid. And it makes no sense. Like they said, what'd they say? They said the whistle was blown before he caught the ball. No, it wasn't. Who are you? What's wrong with you?
We have instant replay, which brings me to the point. Why are you guys not doing what the XFL does? Like the XFL had a guy with a fucking Xbox controller, like talking to the ref. He wasn't on camera. He used dual thumbs. He zoomed in. He said, "Hey guys, you got this call wrong. Oh, hey guys, you got this call right." What's so hard about that? It took 6-7 seconds, and they were like, "Oh wait, no, the call was this." What's so hard about that? I don't understand why the NFL didn't do that. It was amazing that the XFL did a bunch of really good stuff, and the NFL took like one little thing that didn't even matter. All the good stuff the XFL does, NFL did not incorporate any of it, and that's why I can't wait for the XFL to come back.
I feel like the same thing that I think the NFL's reasoning is the same as the NBA's reasoning. I think it's because I know like the NBA really, really didn't want to do the challenge thing because they thought it would make games longer and they wanted to speed up the games. I mean, the last 4 minutes of the Cowboys game, if I'm not mistaken, took like close to 30 minutes, like if I'm not mistaken. So like, I think they're trying to like keep the game times as like let it flow as quickly as possible. But at the same time, like you just got to make the right calls. I thought it was funny on Monday when Sean McVay challenged the Cardinals challenge, like stuff like that. I think is what they're trying to avoid. But like, you made a bad call. Let's move this along, shall we? Let's move it along.
Yeah, too much time has been spent on officiating. Bert, who gets your game ball this week?
Oh, this one's easy. 64 years ago to this day, Willie O'Ree broke the color barrier in hockey as being the first Black hockey player in the NHL for the Boston Bruins. Tonight, probably already happened. The Bruins were going to retire his number 22 forever. It's going to hang in the rafters at the Boston Garden. So he gets my game ball through and through for obviously being a trailblazer for what he did and opening the door for so many other individuals to play hockey. And then hats off to the Bruins. Some say it was a little too late, but I'm glad they finally did it in itself. So, congrats to Willie for now, forever being enshrined to where he belongs.
Shout out to him. Marcus, who gets your game ball?
I kind of cheated. I have two.
Go for
first
it.
one goes to Cam Akers. I tweeted last night he's the fourth athlete in the last like 3 years to come back from an Achilles injury and not lose a step. We just saw Klay Thompson do it. We've seen Kevin Durant do it. Breonna Stewart did it for the Seattle Storm. So that's just incredible. And the other one goes to you guys for having me on the show. Because I appreciate you guys for having me on the show. It was a blast.
We appreciate you coming on.
Yeah.
So I appreciate
the floor is yours, man. Tell everybody what you do, where they can find you, and what you got coming up.
I do a lot all the time, and I I'm not even like, this is so serious. I was on Justin's show last night. The answer to that question, the exact same question, is different now. But obviously, like I said, thank you guys for having me on the show. You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok at GTP Marcus. 2 live shows this week, one tomorrow, one Friday. NFC divisional round preview tomorrow with my guy Steve A. Smith and Guru of Guru Films Room, and then JT and the Don will be on the show on Friday to preview the AFC for all the same stuff.
Don't let them downplay my Bills either, man. You better represent and hold me down over there, man. Don't let them go crazy.
Yeah. So that's
like
it.
Adam Lewis did on Justin's show. Jeez. I almost hit Adam up like, yo, bud. All right, we got to talk, because he was talking crazy about the Bills. He said the Bills weren't good, man. That's basically what he said. He said the Bills weren't good, which is not good. Frank Novick says Willie O, true gentleman. Yeah, that's crazy. Least racist thing Boston has done, for sure, 100%.
That's true. That is
Boston,
true. They make white people in Boston. It's insane.
Yeah,
the only black people I've seen in Boston are the black people that play for the Celtics and the handful of them that play for the Patriots. That's it. They just breed white people up there. Nothing wrong with that. Please don't come knocking on my door. But just one of few places in the country that just absolutely breed white people. It's
large Irish Catholic population up there. So.
It's insane up there, man. I visited one time. Me and my mother,
outside
only
of
two black people I saw.
Listen, outside of the beer and Tom Brady, let's all agree Boston is overrated. My game ball, as a city, just matter of fact, the whole state of Massachusetts, overrated. All right, enough. The Boston Marathon, overrated. You guys are just running. No, not like that. Shout out to the people.
Not that one. Okay,
not the tragedy of the Boston. I'm talking about that actual marathon itself. No.
I mean, we can just blanket that with certainly all marathons.
all marathons.
That's true.
Ty does love Boston. I don't know why, because there's a lot of beer there. That's why. I'm going to cheat too and give 2 game balls. One's going to go. My first one, my real one, is going to go to Rick Bisaccia, who after the loss, I do think should get the full-time job with the Las Vegas Raiders, considering how he pulled that thing together after all of their crap. He in his hotel after the game hand wrote a letter to every player on the team, thanking them for the year they had and thanking them for holding it together and letting him lead them. Handwritten, didn't type it. He hand wrote every single letter. Shout out to him. That's an amazing thing. That's a good man. I hope he gets, if not this job, a job somewhere in the NFL at some point, hopefully next year. And of course, my second one's going to Josh Allen. I mean, listen, guys, he didn't do nothing but have the perfect game. 5 touchdowns against the second-ranked defense. No punts, no picks, no fumbles lost, no field goals, scoring touchdowns on every single drive. Josh Allen, he's the man. And that's all there is to it. I did forget one poll. Bert had a poll up, the pom-pom celebration. Tyreek Hill had one last night against the Steelers, and we thought immediately of Terrell Owens, and we wanted to know who did it better, T.O. or Tyreek Hill. 67. It's early in the poll. I did it a couple hours before the show. 67% of the audience said T.O., which is the correct.
But no one's ever gonna outdo T.O.'s pom-pom celebration. No. It's iconic. It should have been on the top 100 plays list. They did.
It should be. It should be. But we also have people that are keeping T.O. out of the first ballot Hall of Fame. So just because they're biased. But Marcus, again, shout out to you at GTP Marcus, Instagram, right? Go talk with Marcus. Just type it into the little search browser on your interwebs. You'll find him on the YouTubes. You'll find him on anywhere you can get your podcast. Follow us.
Coming soon. Coming soon. I'm working on that.
Working on it.
I'm working on it. It's on YouTube right now exclusively, but
gotcha.
In the very near future, I'm working on getting it on anywhere you can find your post. I want to be international like you guys. Just type it in on Spotify and it pops up. That's the goal. We're not there yet, but we'll get there.
Yeah, we're number 6 in Guam sports podcast. So shout out to the guys in Guam. See,
bro, that's lovely. I wanna be number 6 in Guam.
Yeah, we're working on it, man. We're working on it. Shout out to all the Bangladesh people that fucking share our shit. I don't know why we have so many Bangladeshis, but I did work at Matt Stories, and they're all, and I think I can say this now that Matt Stories is now closing down in Bordentown. Shout out to that diner and all the illegal Bangladesh people that Alex Matt Stories hired for all those years. Shout out to them. Shout out to you, Bobby. Miss your sandwiches. All right, for Marcus, for Bert, I'm Germ. Thank you guys for joining us, and we'll talk to you next week.